Big number. 14.3. That's the percentage of folks who belong to or participate in one or more community groups or organizations in the previous year who are significantly more likely to volunteer their time as well. And that group is also 8.6% more likely to donate as well. And that's according to ongoing research at the University of Maryland's Do Good Institute that they've released in the past 2 years. Now, this report is entitled Social Connectedness and Generosity. And it's a fascinating look at the ways that community connections can bleed into the more formal world of nonprofit operations and the fundraising needed to sustain the cause. Unfortunately, volunteerism and feelings of community are at a low point in both the number of people giving their time to nonprofit causes, as well as the feelings of trust that people have in the nonprofits themselves. It isn't that people don't come together in community. In fact, the focus of today's episode isn't going to be on traditional volunteerism, but instead on how different communities are approaching building their vision of connection and trust. We're hearing the word community get thrown around a lot lately, and I've continued to evolve my personal understanding of what that means to the work that we're all doing in the nonprofit sector. The reality is that community may actually come easier outside of work than within it. For something that we spend so much time and energy on, work can be a drag, and it can be hard to make friends or mentors. The average tenure of a nonprofit professional is about 18 months, and we've long had discussions, even on this show, about leadership transitions that many organizations are going to see as their founders choose or are forced to retire. Now, where does one have these conversations in a space where they can feel safe and secure? Sure. There are those Facebook groups, but they're honestly just being scanned by tech vendors for opportunities to insert a way to talk about their products. Well, besides us, of course. But in all seriousness, that's not always the best place that people want to have these types of serious conversations. And there's also local professional associations with varying degrees of success in their ability to maintain momentum and ongoing interest. I've worked with many of these organizations, and I'm always inspired to see this come alive, such as when I attended the Association of Leadership Programs National Conference in Providence, Rhode Island earlier this month. But I want to pause here and ask you folks a question because I know we got a bunch of folks here because Floyd and Dee Dee are going to bring the noise. So I want to stop here though and ask, where do you find your professional community? Where are your peers, your mentors, your confidants, and shoulders to cry on? We're actually going to give you about 30 seconds to give this feedback. And as a reminder, this is how you get added to the prize board for that wheel. So we'll give you a little. Folks saying peers and connections, LinkedIn and conferences. So welcome. Okay. Looks like we're at least partially in the right place for some folks. So we're going to keep paying attention to those. And as you can see, we love highlighting our community who's joining us here. The reality, the barber shop, love that answer. Love that. The reality is that we have a very large sector and a very weak ecosystem as a whole for professional support networks. And the unfortunate reality is that this may be the case for many of us, but certain populations are going to have added stress and barriers to success than others due to social inequalities and biases. When I lived in Ireland and studied culture and colonialism, one of the most important lessons I learned was the power of community identity. When individuals have a strong sense of who they are culturally, it can lead to powerful ideas. And that's why it's important for people in the nonprofit sector to have a deeper understanding of who you are and what you makes you different than a for-profit business. And there's also well-documented research that demonstrates that our civic society's very fabric of being is tightly intertwined with the nonprofit's health and being. If we succeed in creating a more equitable and abundance mindset focused on a world for ourselves and beyond, there's a very good chance that we can help make the world look like that on an everyday basis. This is why this show is a celebration of community today. We are starting to see some really amazing communities built specifically for nonprofit professionals that bring people together to learn, share, and support each other in a place that is starting to feel for them like a home away from home. In many ways, this is something that's been long overdue. That's why I'm excited to talk about many different things with you today. But just earlier this month, we had the honor of producing the Giving Black Conference, a celebration of Black philanthropy, drawing on the tradition of generosity and among continental Africans and Africa's global diaspora in the Caribbean, Europe, and the Americas, and the UK, and across the world. My producer, Chris Strubb, and I watched with excitement as hundreds of folks gathered to enjoy a premium learning experience that was centered on building community. We were so honored to have worked with Mide Akarawusi and the Giving Black team on this. And this is going to be something that people are going to remember for a long time to come. But one of the individuals who was part of that event is today's guest for a very special episode of Generosity Experience Live. I've come to know Floyd Jones in a few different ways. And one of those that I'm most proud of is Friend. And I'm also thrilled that he's brought us a special guest that helped make Black Philanthropy Month something that's more than just an idea, but connected to that very fabric of civic society itself. Having Didi Delgado join us with Floyd in the back half of today's episode is something that I am extraordinarily excited about. Now, we're going to be joined by Floyd after a quick message about this month's giveaway.